Before we dive into today's episode, I have something truly special to share. Next September, I'll be leading an intimate women's retreat through the south of France and northern Italy, and you're invited. Picture this: mornings exploring the colorful markets of the French Riviera, afternoons sipping wine, and a hotel view with golden Mediterranean sunsets. Whether you love photography, food, or just want to reconnect with your playful creative self, this trip is designed for you. Spots are limited, so if all this sounds like your kind of adventure, please visit tourwithabsolutely.com and look for the tour France and Italy with Crystal. You can also send me a message or check out the show notes. Hey guys, my name's Crystal Kenny, and I'm in love with creating. All things artistic and imagination involved. I'm an American girl who chased her creative dreams all the way to Paris, France, making a living using photography. This podcast takes you inside the stories of all the artsy folks I've met along the way and gives you that extra push to discover your creative gifts. The desire to create is deeply inside each and every one of us, and I give you the tools and inspiration to find a new way of living a more creative life. This is La Vie Creative, the podcast. On the show, I interview Rebecca Harvey. Rebecca's originally from the States, but she's calling Paris home now, and she runs a community-focused night of radical vulnerability, where participants share texts and experiences that were not necessarily meant for the public. We talk all about the group now. It's called Under the Umbrella. So welcome to the show, Rebecca. It's so lovely to finally speak with you. You've been a busy woman in Paris. You are such a creative person. But I want to go back to the beginning of where you came from and what brought you to France.
For sure. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to finally get the chance to speak with you. It's been a long time coming.
Exactly.
Where am I from? I'm from San Francisco originally, so fairly creative place in of itself. And I grew up there, spent my whole life there, and then I moved down to the LA area to go to university. And then right after, during university, I did my first stint of living in France. I was in Nantes for a bit. And then I loved it so much that as soon as I got my degree in linguistics, I immediately, came back to France and was like, oh, I'll stay here for a little bit. This is fun. And then I ended up staying here, for 5 years, and I haven't left.
I think that happens to a lot of us. We're like, we'll just give it a year, and then life happens.
Exactly.
And you're also a writer, a singer, a graphic designer. Tell us more.
Yeah. So I think probably the first thing that ever really happened for me was I was a voracious reader when I was young, which I feel like a lot of us were, right? We loved reading. And then we kind of fell off, and then we're slowly getting back on the horse. At least that's my personal journey.
Yeah.
But yeah, really voracious reader, really loved reading. And then, obviously that kind of transferred to a love of writing. And I, really thought I was going to be a writer when I was younger, which, I do consider myself a writer. Obviously I don't get paid to do it, but, I really wanted to be a writer. And then from that, I also, my mom would always say, we had to put you in singing lessons because I couldn't stand you going around the house singing it every single minute of the day, without singing lessons. So we had to put you in singing lessons.
Thanks, Mom.
Thanks, Mom. And it worked. So I've been singing like classical, choral and operatic style, since I was 7. I was with the San Francisco Girls Chorus. I did a stint with the San Francisco Opera as a child actor. That was really a wonderful experience, really, getting to see artists, up close and living their life and doing what they do best. That was a really formative experience for me. And yeah, now I'm in Paris, and, I'm sure, as you know, when you're an expat or whatever that word means, you kind of come and you're very focused on sort of getting your life together, getting a network, knowing people, doing things. And so, creative pursuits can kind of fall to the wayside when you're doing that. And so I kind of spent, COVID didn't help. So
Yeah. COVID didn't help any of us. We were all losing it during that time.
Truly. I feel like COVID must have helped some creatives, right?
Yeah, I mean, this podcast came out of COVID because I needed something to
There you
do.
go.
So some things helped.
There you go. Exactly. So, sometimes it's for some people, it gave people the space that they needed to create. But for me, it just sort of shut me in my room. And so when I came out of it, I was dying for community. I was dying for artistic expression. Just like, I was dying to get out of my crappy little Paris apartment, really. And I found a group of friends that were very creative. I ended up becoming friends with lots of people who work in animation. I ended up being friends with lots of people who work in creative tech. And then I met Danielle, who is the founder of Under the Umbrella. I don't even remember. Oh, I met her through a mutual friend of ours, another very creative and important person in my life. And Danielle, basically, I'll tell you the premise of Under the Umbrella. Danielle had this night where people would come in and they would read texts that were unedited, let's say, or not meant for public consumption. Right. So these would be things like DMs or your notes app, or, the things you write in your journal when you're 5 years old, or it's just so many different options. We've even had people read their Tinder exchanges, that was a fun one.
So, talk a little bit about how these people are brave enough to talk about this stuff, because like you said, it's things that are normally meant for the public eye, and people are just out there reading all this out loud to a group of people in a bar, I'm assuming.
Yep, pretty much. That's it.
Wow.
Yeah, we call it radical vulnerability, which I love as a concept. I believe Danielle came up with that phrase. But yeah, I think it's partly just because you see other people doing it and you're like, oh, this feels safe. This feels fun. Because, a lot of people get up to laugh at themselves, which I think is really freeing as artists. I think sometimes we take ourselves very seriously. I don't know if you've ever experienced that.
I've experienced a lot of artists who do, but I don't think
exactly. Like you'll enter into an artistic space and everyone's being very serious about what they create, and like you sort of get almost intimidated by, like everyone has these finished products that are so polished and they've been working on it and like thinking through it for years, it seems.
Exactly.
And I think that can be, I think that can be really intimidating. And so when you see it, but you're in a bar, you're already, you're drinking a little bit. You're already a little bit more relaxed. And then you have a bunch of people just get up and read their diaries. Like it's very freeing.
So is that the purpose of radical vulnerability, of Under the Umbrella? It's about, freeing yourself, not being shameful, because I guess to get rid of shame, we just have to talk about these things.
Yeah, it's very that. I was talking with my friend Joanna, who's the mutual friend that introduced me, and Danielle, about like what the purpose of the night is, because she also helps out with us organizing this open mic type thing. And she was talking about like the purpose of creativity and the purpose of Under the Umbrella being sort of to like it's the act of tending to your life and bringing meaning to it. Like we all have these like little moments that we record in our diaries, that we record in our notes app, and they seem really big to us at the time. And then we can kind of read it and look back and contextualize it and tend to it and bring more meaning to it through expressing it, basically. And I think that's what we're trying to do, is trying to highlight the small things and make something more creative out of the small things, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's like bringing this like secret things to life and seeing how it can inspire you or, empower you in some ways.
Yeah, exactly.
And talk about some more of the topics, like talk about some things that surprised you or inspired you from one of these nights.
Oh goodness, there have been so many. Well, one that I particularly enjoyed was Danielle. Danielle no longer runs the night with us because she moved back to the States, but she is doing under the umbrella East Coast, which is really exciting. She's getting some nights started over there. But when she was still here and still running the night, she found a diary on the street. She just picked it up off the street, and it was the diary of an American who had been visiting Paris, and it was from, I think, like the 80s or something like that. And it was so touching, just like the little details of his life, of like going to cafes with friends and, being broken up with, and like how he was, interpreting that in the context of like, living outside of the US for a little bit. And I don't remember the specific details of everything that got read, but I just remember being like, wow, we've all been doing the same thing for so long. Like, yes, there were huge differences, but we're all living the little minute details of this life. And I wish I could have, known this person. That would have been really cool.
Yeah, it's kind of bringing these things to light and seeing how we're all connected, right?
Mm-hmm.
And talk a little bit more about the name Under the Umbrella. Why is that the name of the group?
I'd have to ask Danielle, to be honest, but it has to do with the feeling of safety. It has to do with all of us, huddling under this umbrella together and sharing, secrets, sharing minutia of our daily lives. And, it being sort of, you end up under an umbrella with someone because you kind of have to, right? You're caught in the rain or something happens. That means you have to like huddle up. And I think we're all experiencing Paris, which is overwhelming. And what I really like about Under the Umbrella is that it allows, it's mostly in English, so it basically allows a bunch of creative Anglophones to like sort of gather up, say hi to each other, and have a little refuge and say whatever they want, pretty much.
I love that. And when does it happen? Does it change every week?
So over the summer, we were experimenting with some formats, but usually it happens once a month. It's currently the last Wednesday of the month, so we have one in about a week, but I know this isn't coming out immediately. But yeah, last Wednesday of the month, and we're at Les Écuries Bar in, I think it's the third, I always forget the arrondissement. It's by Châtelet.
Yeah, very central. So anyone can come. Like if there's someone visiting, they can come check you guys out.
Absolutely.
And that's so fun. I love that. And so when you go to these meetings, like, and people are sharing, very personal things, do you find, you just kind of walk away forgetting about things? So I think people are afraid to be vulnerable because they're like, oh, people are going to judge me. But don't you find that people just forget like 5 minutes later anyway?
Oh yeah, 1,000%. I couldn't tell you the vast majority of the things people read at our night. Like truly, I can't remember. I think the one that stands out for me the most was my co-host Clara, God bless her. She read a bit of a naughty. She has a dream diary. She read a bit of a naughty dream, which was hilarious because her brother was in the audience.
Oh no.
But other than that, I really cannot remember what everyone else read at the last one. I think we had some poems. I think we had some, one of our regulars, came out with a book in Spanish. So she read some of her translation into the English book, but really, truly, when you get up there and you say things, people are so supportive and people really want to see you succeed. And, we encourage that by, having people like clap, having people support, having people heckle, only in a kind way. But people don't really remember, and it's very freeing to get up there and just express yourself.
Yeah, and be vulnerable, because I feel like more and more we're all hiding behind screens when it comes to dating and work and even socializing. So it's nice to get in this space and be vulnerable together.
Yes, agreed.
And talk a little bit more about the creative expat world. I mean, as you said, there's so many of us here, And what is that like connecting with them? What's kind of surprised you about the people you met here?
I'm part of so many enclaves. So, for example, I'm part of the choral scene in Paris. So I do choirs and I do recitals with that group of friends. And then I'm also part of the musical scene. So I did a production of The Sound of Music with the International Players, which are not in Paris proper. They're in Saint-Germain, but that was so fun. Such a great group of expats. If any of you are interested, they have, they don't just do musicals, they also do plays. So fun. What else? There's the animation people that I know. Like, I know a lot of people who went to Gobelin, and they're just amazing and wonderful. There are tattoo artists. There are, poets, authors. I have a book club that I do with Le Phare Collectif, which is super fun. There's just really, really anything that you want to find, you can absolutely find in Paris. And that's what I love about it.
Yeah, and as you said, it's just surprising how many different types of creatives there are here. It's just there's obviously there's social media, there's like the famous ones, but there's also a lot more that we don't really know about. And I think what people would be excited to learn about is actually these groups and coming together in these communities. It's so important that we get out and talk to each other and talk a little bit about how Paris has influenced your work.
I think Paris has influenced my work by, that's such a good question. I think it's influenced me by forcing me to focus on production instead of consumption, if that makes sense.
Yeah, explain some more.
Yeah, it's like it's so easy to get into this cycle, and it was definitely a cycle I existed in the States of, you have your social media, you have your YouTube, you have, online video, you have movies, you have books, you have all of these ways to get all of this art into your system, which is wonderful and amazing. And I love participating in all of those things. But I think in the States, I was very in my room, and I was very part of the cycle of consumption of media and art. And I wasn't really getting out there and being like, oh, I could do that. I can contribute to the conversation. I can produce. And it was only in being in Paris and being surrounded by people who are like, no, you can produce. Like, I'm producing. You can be a part of this. Like, Danielle invited me to be a part of Under the Umbrella. And I was like, oh my God, like, I don't feel like I'm worthy. And she's like, what are you talking about? We literally have an art club. You're an artist. Like, you can get out there and you can do whatever you want. I think that was what Paris forced me. And maybe it was the pandemic as well, forced me to get out of this consumption mode and into production mode.
I love that. And it kind of makes us face our imposter syndrome too, it sounds like.
Yes, absolutely. I found that that's essential, specifically the community and specifically like the structure that community provides. If you're literally going to an art club like every other week and you are making things, they don't have to be good things, but you're making things. You can't then be, oh, but I'm not an artist, because the little, clay thing that you made last week is literally there physically telling you, no, you are. Are you a good artist? Are you a paid artist? These are different questions, but you are an artist.
Yeah, this is so true. And it's just like facing that realization, because we all feel unworthy sometimes. So it's good to be around other people who are constantly producing and reminding you that you can too.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what's something you wish more people knew about moving to Paris?
Oh, I don't know. It's going to take a year. It's going to take a year. You're going to hate it for a year. Or rather, you'll love it for a little bit, and then you'll hate it for a year. And then it'll even out. I promise.
Yeah, I think that's very true. That was my experience too. I arrived and I was like, oh, I made the biggest mistake in my life. And then like 12 years later, I'm still here. So it takes time. It's a big adjustment.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what inspires you?
I think there are a lot of things that inspire my creativity. I think the first one is that it's a need. When I moved from the, input to output, when I moved into production mode, I sort of got addicted to it, because you get addicted to this high of like looking on all the work you've done and being like, oh, I did that. That's so cool. And I know everyone's talking about their inner child nowadays, but I really think it's true. I really think that there's a need to play. And so the act of playing and just producing bad stuff and producing good stuff and maybe producing stuff that's kind of middle of the road. Looking back on my previous production and looking forward to what I can produce, I think that's very inspiring to me.
And you mentioned AI before. Like, what are your feelings about AI and creativity? I know a lot of the artistic world, creative world is very upset about AI. Like, what are your feelings on it?
So I am in agreement with most people about AI's effect on creativity. I think it is a shortcut. And I think it's also, actually making life harder for artists out there who otherwise would get paid to do the work that AI is currently doing. All that said, it is super convenient. It is super convenient. And we do use it to produce some of our images that we use to promote our shows on social media. Because all of the people who run under the umbrella are extremely busy and don't really have the time to sit down and produce the level of content that we need to produce in order to promote our show. I would like to get away from that because I don't really agree ethically with AI being used in this way. But also, beforehand, we weren't paying anyone else. It's not like anyone's losing money from us using AI in our promotion. So I don't know. I'm justifying myself, but
yeah,
here we are.
I mean, it's coming whether we want it to come or not. It's happening. So
yeah,
it's a matter of learning, of living with it and, using it for good, but also using our brains, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
And talk about your definition of creativity. How would you define creativity in your own words?
Good question. I think creativity for me, as I mentioned before, it is a need. It is an expression of play, I think, as an adult, an expression, as we said, of the inner child. But as we said with, what the point of Under the Umbrella is, I think it's the act of externalizing internal processes, tending to life and bringing meaning to the small things in life that you experience. So, taking pain and turning it into art's very cliche way of thinking about it. But, taking a mundane morning and turning it into art is a wonderful way to think about it. So I think creativity is the process. And it's a process that is iterative and continuous, and you can pick it up anytime.
I completely agree. And talk about some of the creative resources that have helped you on your journey.
Creative resources. I'd say the best creative resource that I had is the people around me, and specifically my art club, because I have this really informal thing that I do with multiple friends, which is where we just get together and someone brings up the idea of like what type of art we're going to do today. Sometimes it's watercolors, sometimes it's clay, sometimes it's collage. It's often collage. I love collage. But someone brings up like, here's the medium, and then we all just sit in a circle and like chat, catch up on life, and just make something. And it doesn't have to be good. Sometimes it's writing as well. It doesn't have to be good. It just has to be produced. And I think that's been the greatest resource for me, the greatest tool in being more creative and being more being more intentional about my creativity and less scared to produce, less like uptight about the quality of it, if that makes sense.
I think that's great advice. I mean, I think so much of us like don't make time to play, and just like having fun with a group of friends, just creating whatever would be, I want to do that. That's so fun.
Well, you're invited to the next one.
Oh, well, thank you. I'll be there. I'm ready to collage.
Yes, I love collage.
I met a woman when I was home in the States. She does a meetup every month in her shop. It's a clothing store, but she calls it champagne and crafts, and they come together and have champagne and craft. And I'm like, that is the best idea ever. We need to bring it to Paris. So you've already done it.
Listen, you're invited to the next one. We did a collage, what do you call it? Session, I guess, at my house. So long ago, months and months ago. And I just moved into a new place. And I'm finally able to hang up all the collages that my friends made in my living room. And I'm so pleased with it.
It's so fun looking at all that like good times together and what you guys created.
Yeah, exactly.
And what's next on the horizon? Are there any future projects you want to share?
For sure. I think I'm working on two main projects at the moment. The first one is obviously Under the Umbrella. We are hoping to get a website up soon, so hopefully that will be happening. But yeah, Under the Umbrella, you can find us on Instagram for that. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to growing the night. Winter is always our best season. More people come in from the cold to huddle under the umbrella. So that's really exciting. And then the other creative pursuit that I'm working on at the moment is I have a newsletter where I talk about social media and how it has ruined my creativity. But I try to combat that by giving people recommendations. It's called Curation Against Consumption. I try to curate a list of really good content on the internet that I've found recently that has made me think and made me, because you know how when you're scrolling on the internet, you're just like kind of not in your body and you're kind of like out there in the ether, not paying attention, not internalizing, not thinking.
That happened to me today on the metro when I missed my stop.
Yep. Yeah. And so I try to, instead of being at the mercy of the algorithm, I hope that the people who read my newsletter can sort of find a curated list of things that hopefully make their lives better and help them think more and be more in their reality as opposed to escaping it. Escaping's good, but sometimes it's not the time.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's great. We need to like come back to the planet and leave the screen time. And where can people connect with you and learn more?
So you can connect with Under the Umbrella on Instagram. It's at Under the Umbrella Paris. All of our announcements are there. Eventually we'll put up a website and everything will be on there as well. But you'll get announcements on that through the Instagram. If you don't have Instagram, but you still want to be updated, in our little link tree on Instagram, you can also sign up for the newsletter that's related to Under the Umbrella. So, if people don't want to be scrolling on social media, you can also get updates through your email. You can also join our WhatsApp group. There's a link to that on the Instagram as well. So you only have to go on Instagram once if you really don't want to stay.
Yes, you don't have to stay. Well, thank you so much for sharing with us, and we'll share all those links in the show notes. And I can't wait to see what you create next.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Crystal.
Thanks so much for tuning in to La Vie Creative. You can find more information on MissParisPhoto.com. And if you enjoyed this show, please feel free to share and spread the word for all my creative guests. We have the power to help them to keep doing what they love. See you next time.